Now time to pop the fan off. I did get the lower bolts out, both from the top side. Just being able to reach down and pull the bolts out of from right here is the passenger side, and then over here on the driver's side you can't quite see it, but now this is good and loose, so we have good access to our fan nut, which is right there. And this is one of those deals where you can get it off with everything from, I've seen a crescent to a pipe wrench. There's all kinds of stuff. It actually is a 47 millimeter nut is what it comes out to being. I like to not have to fight this, and it can be a pain in the butt. So Lyle makes this one tool set right here. See if I can get it in here for a minute. It comes with this bar that's sits up here. It's in my air hammer right now, and all these different sizes for different fan nuts. And what happens is it bolts in, or not bolts in, but snaps into your regular air hammer, and then on this end has this nifty little notch, so that when you slide this over your fan nut, you can hook it in here, and this will put in and basically act as an impact, but for tight quarters. So we'll I'll leave this run and see if we can't get a decent demonstration of it here. There we go, and just like that, it's loose and can be spun off by hand. So like I said, that tool can save you a lot of time in messing around with crescent wrenches, monkey wrenches, whatever it happens to be for you. Also, in case I didn't mention, those bolts down there to take this out, they are a 13 millimeter head. What I use to get them out worked pretty well. Just a ratcheting 13 millimeter stubby wrench. This one happens to be blue point, whatever, doesn't matter, but with one of these it's pretty simple to get them out. So once you get them out, you can take and spin this fan by hand the rest of the way to get that nut off of there. And once it's off, you can pull both of these out at the same time, and you'll see that you have a lot more room in here. I'll show you as soon as I get this spun out of here. Once you get close to the end, it's good to keep two hands on it just so that you don't drop it, because there is a pretty good weight on the fan clutch. So once you get that all out of there, this comes right on out the top. And once you get it started, it comes out fairly easily. Now you can see we got a lot more room down here. I'll actually show you a little bit better what exactly we have left to do here. We gotta pull the belt off, obviously, but once we get down there, the water pump itself is right here, so we'll get that pulled out of there. And we also have to, in order to get at the bolts down below there, we have to pull the harmonic balancer, which we'll do here in a minute. And we also end up pulling these bolts. This coolant tube rotates out of the way. A lot of times this hose can fight you, and there's also some other things we'll get into with the O-ring in here can cause a lot of problems, and everything else is pretty straightforward, but just step by step. And this is kind of things I'm trying to point out along the way, and I'm trying not to forget anything. So we'll come back out here and go again. The next thing I'm going to do is pull the belt off, which tensioner is right here. You can see the little square hole right at the tip of my finger. Pretty sure that's just 1/2 inch drive for a ratchet, and you can take the tension off. Make note of your belt routing. Some people like to draw it out on a piece of paper, cardboard. Most vehicles have it up here. As you can see, this one's missing, but okay, everybody, we're back here for a minute or two. As you can see, I've already pulled the belt off. It was just 1/2 inch ratchet. I use one with a flex head, gets out away from the pulleys a little bit, and makes it pretty easy. But our next step is going to be to pull this harmonic balancer off right here. And to do that, that is a, I believe, 12.36 millimeter socket. There's a couple different ways to do it. I've seen a few different people do it some different ways. One way, if you have a really good 1/2 inch stubby impact and a 1/2 inch socket to match with this, you can fit it down in here and impact that off. While that does work, it seems to be kind of a band-aid in my opinion, because if you're going to put this back together the right way and properly torque that bolt down, you're gonna have to lock the flywheel in the back anyways, one way or another, because the engine will turn over before you can hit the torque that you need. The other way that I've seen this done, I've seen people use a breaker bar and a socket on there, and they'll go over to the frame, and what they will do is bump the starter, and the engine turning over will actually break that bolt loose, and then you can take it out the rest of the way from there. Same problem. Once again, you go to put it back in, you have to lock it up somehow in order to actually hit the torque that you're looking for to get it in there right. That is a torque to yield bolt. I don't recommend reusing them. Every time I do one of these, I put a new bolt in. I believe it's, I want to say 12 or 13 bucks from the dealer. They usually can have one within a day or so. I've found it doesn't seem to be a stock item, but definitely orderable. My personal favorite way to do this, the kit comes with this little tool right here. It actually locks in your flywheel so that your motor cannot turn, and in order to do that, I'll try to see if I can show you guys how this works. We're under the driver's side here, right in front of the transmission is right in front of us here. Let me get my light. As you can see, there is an access cover right there, and I've already kind of popped it out a little bit, so we can take it out the rest of the way here. There you can see your torque converter, and also if you look in through there, I don't know if you can quite see them or not, but the teeth on the flywheel are right there. So you take that nifty little tool that I was showing you and slide it in. Sorry about this, kind of trying to do this and hold it right here, and wiggle it just a little bit, and it slides in right like that. What that does is the teeth engage both sides, and it blocks in there and holds your flywheel so that your engine can no longer turn over. So that way you can actually put some torque on that bolt and get it to where you need. Biggest thing with this tool, don't forget that it's in there. You'll make a mess of things if you try to start it with that little bugger in there. The other way that I've seen people do this is your starter is on this passenger side. You can't quite see it over here. I'd have to go around. But anyways, you can pull the starter out and put a extension through one of the bolt holes and into one of the holes on the flywheel. That will also effectively lock it up. So from there, once it's locked, take your socket, break it loose. I'm obviously going to need both hands. I think it's torqued to around 280 something. I have to look it up here when we get to that part. But yeah, that is how I like to get this locked up, and seems to work the best for me. So there's a few different ways to do it. Like I said, that's my favorite, but however you wish to, have at it. Let me know what you tend to think is the best way, or if you like my way, go ahead and let me know. So I'm gonna get this broke loose. Alright everybody, we're back. Got the harmonic balancer off finally after a little bit of a fight there. You can see the bare shaft down there. Yeah, it was a little tighter than most of them I've came across. I actually had to break some stuff to get this one off. I had a 1/2 inch ratchet that yeah, we sheared off, but they'll warranty that, so we're just gonna set that aside for now. But it wouldn't budge. Tried the breaker bar on the frame trick. That didn't matter. It was pretty tight, so finally we had to upgrade to a 3/4 and cheater it, and it finally came off. So that aside, next step, I pull this fan idler off. There's only 5 bolts to it. It's pretty simple. You've got one right here that I've already backed out. There's one directly underneath here. I'll see if I can get down to it. Right here. And then you have one right here, which is just a nut. And then you also have this one here. So there's 3 on this side right in a row. And you also have to undo this electrical connection right here. It'll come out of the way, and then you can pull this out. On the driver's side, you just have 2. You have this one that I showed you already, and then down underneath right here there's one more. So pull those 5 out, and this whole little assembly pops right off. And after that, we will take this hose loose and take these bolts out and actually start removing the water pump itself. So starting to actually get to what we're trying to accomplish here and make a little bit of headway. So